Hello everyone, welcome to this next MACS webinar. Today's webinar will be about planning and scheduling with IBM Maximo. And I am basically going to cover a couple of topics which I will show on the next slide. So, the topics for today's webinar will be 3 different views on planning and scheduling with IBM Maximo. The first one will be out-of-the-box functionalities. So what can we do in terms of planning and scheduling within Maximo already, out of the box. Second topic will be about the IBM Maximo add-on scheduler. And the third topic will be also an add-on from one of our partners, EAM Swiss, and that would be the EAM Flex Calendar Plus add-on. So let's start with the out-of-the-box planning and scheduling functionalities of IBM Maximo. And of course, one of the first things I want to tell you about today is the start centers. We all use start centers, and start centers are really good to give us an overview of all the work that we need to perform or that we need to take a look at in one overview. So basically, I always also say that, let's say that 80% of the things that are important within Maximo for your role should be on the Start Center, so that you can directly have an overview on the important things in Maximo. And in this case, you will see the dashboard with an overview of, for example, planned work orders. So in this case, you'll see on the screen, you see a portlet with work orders that are waiting for approval. You see work orders that are in progress and work orders that are, for example, completed down below here, but also PM work orders. So different kinds of overviews of work orders which are already scheduled, maybe. So let's see here that a couple of them already have scheduled start dates. And this really is one of the functionalities within out-of-the-box Maximo, also related, of course, to planning and scheduling, because it gives you an overview of all the planned and scheduled work orders in the system. So that was just the first example of a dashboard for, let's say, a supervisor role, but it could also be, of course, used by a technician. And in this case, I'm showing a dashboard for a technician where you will also see different portlets with different overviews of work orders. So in this case, you will see new work orders, of course, which are important. You will see approved work orders, and you will also see work orders in progress and eventually external completed work orders. So I have a couple of different portlets here, which also give a good overview of work orders that are planned and scheduled for your particular role or craft in this case, and work that is basically assigned to you. So definitely dashboards, I think, is very important out-of-the-box functionality, which is of course related also to not to plan and schedule work, but to get a clear overview of already planned and scheduled work within Maximo. And of course, the work order and the work order information is very important when it comes to planning and scheduling work. And in this case, I will show at first the top level of the work order application, where you can see already important information of the work order. For example, when it comes to planning and scheduling, of course, what is the material status at this moment? So are all my materials already in stock, and are they already basically staged, and are they ready for me to take and to execute my work? So that's one thing. Of course, we also see some other planning related information. In this case, we can already see that there is a job plan attached to this work order. And so all kinds of information that will be important for the work order to be planned and scheduled later on. And when we scroll a little bit more down, you will also see, of course, the scheduling information section of the work order. That's the left one I'm talking about now. And you will see, and I think that these are just fields we all know, of course. Target start and end date, scheduled start and finish date. So all very important to when it comes to planning and scheduling work. And you will also see, of course, things that more functionalities that can be used, such as start no earlier than, finish no later than, eventually some predecessors that you want to use, and we will see that more in the second topic of today, so Maximo scheduler add-on. But it's also information that can be filled and used already in an out-of-the-box Maximo. One of the important things, of course, also is the duration of a work order. What is the estimated time that the duration is for this work order? And all very important information when it comes to planning and scheduling in out-of-the-box Maximo at first. And of course, then there is the plans tab. And the plans tab, because the name already says so, has a lot of planning and scheduling information, or basically it's all about planning and scheduling, basically planning information on this tab when it comes to, for example, the tasks, which in this case are coming from the job plan, of course, but it could also be manually added. But of course, very important part of the work order, the overview of tasks. And of course, you can get a lot of more details in every row if you decollapse it and view the additional fields then below. But very important for planning the work order and making clear what kind of tasks need to be performed to do this kind of maintenance work on the asset and or location, for example. And of course, not only the tasks are important here, but also the planned labor, materials, and eventually also services and tools. You can see here, I've highlighted the materials tab here, and you can see already that there are 3 materials added here. Well, we see actually 2 of them, and we see the amount that we need. We see which storeroom we should get this materials from, and all very important planning information for this work order. So when we use the out-of-the-box functionality like this, we want to make sure that the work order in total is filled with all the important information that, for example, the scheduler needs to know and needs to take into account before he is assigning the work to a certain labor. Well, I already talked about it in the previous slide, of course, but assigning the work is, of course, also one of those out-of-the-box functionalities within Maximo, which can be used and is related to planning and scheduling, of course. So on the Assignments tab in the work order application, you will see and you will have the ability to create assignments, of course. And in this case, there are already 2 assignments, one for an electrician craft and one for a mechanic craft, both with the skill level first class. You can see that both are in status wait assign at this moment, so you can see that here. We can see the duration specifically for those assignments. And one thing I'm going to do now, and I'm going to show, is the functionality of this available labor button below the assignment section, basically. Because out of the box, Maximo does have this available labor dialog where you basically can see, based on the assignments that already have been created in the Assignments tab on the work order tracking application, you can see here the overview of labor, and you can of course also see the available hours of those particular labor that are related to the information of the assignments. Because you can see here at first I have selected the top row here, so the electrician with the first class skill level. You can see that Maximo automatically fills that filter for me here, and I can directly see which labor will be related to those filter information, and I can directly also see who is assigned, who does have available hours left, and who not. And then I can make my decision here and just click on one of the labor, and then basically the work is assigned to that person. So yeah, that's really the out-of-the-box functionality which can be used very easily to plan, schedule, and assign work in this case. And of course, when we're talking about assigning work, also Maximo has already for a long time the Assignment Manager application. And the Assignment Manager application is just a different view on the work that has to be scheduled and assigned in this case, and the availability of the labor and assigning the people to the work. So the assignment manager application is basically using different kinds of colors. You can see it above here. Here you see basically the whole amount of work orders that we have at this moment. Of course, you can just filter and search on specific assets or on work orders, or you can search on specific labor or crafts. And once you've done that, you will just get an overview of the work orders that you need to assign. Different colors will help in terms of statuses and priorities. And you can also see, of course, the status of that particular work record. So you can see here the 2 of them already are assigned. The other ones are still all wait assigned. And below here, you can just select the labor that has the correct craft skill level that's matching the work. And you can also see if there is still hours, if they have time available to be assigned to that work. So that's really a different view on assigning work, and the assignment manager application is basically giving a nice overview of everything you need to see for to be able to assign work to the labor. So, and that was basically the out of the box part. And now I want to go to the second topic of today's webinar, and that will be the IBM Maximo scheduler part when it comes to planning and scheduling, of course. So this will be, this is an add-on to Maximo. It's an IBM Maximo, it's an IBM add-on which can be added to IBM Maximo. And with a couple of slides, I would just want to show you guys what you can do with this add-on and how you can extend the capabilities of Maximo when it comes to planning and scheduling work, and also assigning, of course. So before we dive into the tool itself, so into the add-on itself, I just want to take a quick look at the supported scheduling phases that IBM Maximo Scheduler can support. And we are basically getting a very broad view on this because it's from today. So when it comes to scheduling, it's basically that you have the ability to do it from today, but from today also plus 1 week or plus 4 to 6 weeks. But even you can even support scheduling phases for multiple months or even years. And then you can see in the arrows, of course, that there's also different kinds of the different kinds of phases are having also different kinds of sort of records behind it. Because you can see here that when you're talking about today until 1 week from now, you are basically talking about graphically assigning work, so really dispatching and looking at field technicians. When you are going a little bit further, then you will see that it's all about graphically schedule work orders and capacity planning, resource optimization. And when you go even further than that, you will see that it's about planning and preventive maintenance work. Of course, you will need the PM application for that, and the functionality you will use for that is the forecast functionality. So then you really have the ability to make a very long-term planning based on the forecasting functionality. And then you're talking about sort of scheduling work for multiple months or even years. So a couple of details about the graphical scheduling add-on. And in first, the graphical scheduling application is one of the most important applications of this add-on, of course. You just a short overview of a couple of capabilities that you will have here. Of course, it will give you a Gantt chart for a graphical overview because it's all about a graphical and visual overview within IBM Maximo Scheduler. As said, you will have the ability to maintain maintenance schedules, and then you're not only talking about corrective work, of course, but also about preventive maintenance, inspections, investigations, etc. Of course, you will have the ability to see the work orders, including their tasks. So you will see it, as you can see in the picture here, as a sort of hierarchy. So you will see the top work order, call it the parent work order, with the work orders below, and under the work orders you will see the different tasks per work order. So that will give you a very clear overview on the left side, but also on the right side. And on the right side it will be graphically shown. So here you can really see the work order and the tasks below there. Of course, you will have drag and drop functionality also here, so you can just take the work order, drag and drop it around to match the best availability at this moment, because you can see below here, and that's the resource availability, which resources you need, so which crafts in this case you need, and which are in this case already planned as data in the work order, and it's just shown graphically here so that you can see the amount of availability you have for a certain craft, and with the other color it will be just give you a graphical overview of how much you already have, how much you need basically of these hours that are available when it comes to the work on that day. And so really a scheduling overview, a one view scheduling overview where you can see the combined information of work orders and the amount of hours you need to assign and you need to plan in this case. Then this application also has, and it basically is for all the applications within the IBM Maximo scheduler, but every application has its own additional actions. So actions in the graphical view, for example, by selecting a work order and clicking with the right mouse button on it, you will see that you have different options when it comes to easily navigating this work order to, for example, the next day, or to move it to the next hour, or to move it to a certain day. So then you can just fill in the date, time dialog, and then you can just change it to that and navigate it basically, or move it to that certain day you have selected. So you have a couple of different actions and additional actions that you can use in this application when you're clicking with the right mouse button in the graphical view. The one I didn't tell about you yet is the other resource availability. That will give you an overview basically of materials and tools, or even assets that will need to be used and need to be available in terms of executing this work. So you can also have a graphical overview of the availability of those other resources. Well, it's not only in the graphical view that you have those additional actions, you also have it on the left side, and on the left side you will see also some familiar actions, I think, for a lot of you guys, because here you can see that you can, let's say, select an owner, or you want to you can see that I've selected basically a couple of work orders here, and basically there are two parent work orders, of course, with their task underneath it. So you can see that you have the ability to create a work package here. You can reschedule or unassign assignments, change the status even for the work records here. So you have different actions here, and when you are selecting or clicking with the right mouse button, for example, on one particular work order, you also have the ability to navigate to the work order tracking application, for example. Of course, it will also have the ability to give a cost and usage overview. So once you go in the graphical scheduling application to this tab, to the cost tab, to the cost and usage tab, you will have different abilities. So you can see the work cost in this case, and then you can have an overview of the weekly, or you can see it per week, per month, and per year. And that's just depending on the schedule, of course, and the amount of work orders. And it will give you just a clear overview of the actual labor cost, the estimated labor costs, and so on. So for the different things you have in the work order, labor cost, material cost, services, and even tools, you will just get an overview of all the costs there. And it also has the ability to show you a resource load and availability overview. Basically works the same as the cost overview, but here it will just show you the planned hours and the available hours next to each other, so that you can clearly see also the amount of work and the availability and planned hours for those craft and crews. Well, already talked about this one a little bit earlier, so long-term maintenance planning, which of course is using the forecast functionality of the preventive maintenance schedules in this case. So here you can really see, and I think a lot of you guys know this already, but you will use the forecast functionality of the PM application, create a forecast for, let's say, 2-3 years, And once you have created this forecast, so you will see it here in the PM schedule, then you have the availability to also make this a little bit more visual, to inherit it in, let's say, in the same schedule where you also have your other work orders, and there you can see and can take into account that the forecasted work is also shown visually in the graphical scheduling application. And then you can also directly see, for example, here you can see with the color red that on a certain day you will have maybe a problem or something to figure out when it comes to availability, because there's also a PM planned on that day, or you have to move things around because you just simply don't have enough resources on that moment. So different view on what you can do with the graphical scheduling application, in this case combined with the forecasting functionality of the PM application. And here you see a different example of the peak load I also was talking about in the previous slide, where you just get an overview of the peak load with the color red here, and basically above here you can see clearly the forecasted work, in this case for a weekly inspection for forklifts. And you can basically see that this, of course, will come back every week, and you can just take into account those forecasted records. Because of course it are not work orders yet, but you know already in your scheduling phase that work orders will be generated on that day or for that day. It depends on the settings of the PM schedule, and then you can take this into account when it comes to planning and scheduling. So a couple of additional applications, in this case the graphical assignment, of course very important also to graphically assign work. So here you can see an overview of planned and unplanned work activities. It will give you a clear overview, just a little bit the same as we saw in the graphical scheduling application, and with the colors orange and green here, it's clearly to see what kind of work orders are already assigned and what kind of work orders are not. And if you then go to the assignment view tab, you can really see and assign the work to specific people. So you will see the labor, in terms of crafts. So you will see the mechanic craft here, which is Adams. You will see the electrician craft, which I have my labor Camilla there. And you really can assign the work here also graphically by using this view. Then in the latest version 7.6.8 of Maximo Scheduler, you also have some additional applications which are added in that version. One of them is the graphical work week, which really focuses on managing work for a short period of time, and it will give you an overview, a combined overview of a couple of things. Basically, you can use also the graphical resource view application to define maybe holidays or training days or unavailability, at least for your labor. You can also do it here, so that you can use the reason code and the amount of time which you want to make someone unavailable or set them unavailable for a short period of time, and you will just get notified of that with those colors here. So you can see for this person here, there is no availability on this day because he is on vacation, and then you know that you cannot assign this work here. And when it comes to assigning work, it's just selecting the work order here, so selecting the assignment basically, and once you have selected the assignment, you can just double click on one of the available persons here. The best match will highlight based on the skill level, and then you can just double click and the work will be assigned to that particular labor. And this was basically the application I was talking about also in the previous slide, the graphical resource view, where you have a larger overview of the of basically a couple of crafts that is based on the query, of course, that you put into the work list here. And there you can have a very broad overview, and you will see a weekly overview where you can just change and manage the resources for that week. when people are getting sick or are having vacation or having training, you can just change the availability graphically here by using this application. So, and the last topic of today will be the additional module EAM Flex Calendar Plus. And as said before, this is one of the products designed by our partner EAM Swiss. And yeah, of course, when it comes to planning and scheduling, I also want to show you guys this functionality. So in the next couple of slides, I will just walk you through this functionality, which can also be bought at MACS as an add-on to Maximo. So to give a little bit more background, the EAM Flex Calendar Plus is basically an element, an element within Maximo which can be added to basically every application where it makes sense to add that element. So in this case, we see one of the out-of-the-box functionalities that you will get if you buy this add-on, and that is the EAM labor reporting application. And you can see here that this is a specific application made for reporting your hours, and you can see that the calendar element is used here to make it very easy to report your hours. So in this case, you can see that I am creating a labor transaction. I'm just selecting some time on the calendar, and then the dialog will pop up, and I can just enter the information that I need to enter. So I can say I have worked some hours on a work order. I can even select a task there. I have worked some hours on a ticket, or directly creating a labor transaction for work that you've done on an asset. And you can give a quick memo for it, and then you have just entered your labor transaction, so booked your hours. And you can see also a couple of examples here on the left. You can see that you have already this person have already reported some hours on work orders, so those will come up in blue. In dark blue if it's already approved by, let's say, my supervisor. It will stay in light blue if it's not approved yet. You can see in green that there are booked hours, for a certain ticket, and you can see in orange if I have, for example, created a labor transaction directly on a location or on an asset. So this is just how this element can be used, and this is one of the out-of-the-box applications which you will get if you buy this add-on. So I already talked basically on the previous slide through those colors. I've put them on the slide here also, so I'm not taking too much time here. But just know the different colors that can be used on this element. And of course can also be configured, because that's the good thing of this element or of this add-on, is that it's using Maximo out-of-the-box functionality basically, and it can be configured by using just the application designer, and then with data sources that are added to the element, you can just give your own turn on that. So you can just change the element or use the element to match it to the organization's wishes in this case. Just using the application designer to take this tool or to take this element and maybe add it to also different applications. So here's also one of the capabilities I didn't show before in this application. So here you can see if you click, for example, with your right mouse button on one of those labor transactions, you can modify them. You can, when you have the ability, you can approve it, you can duplicate it. So very easy to use options, or you can delete it. So this is a different view and usage of the element. As you can see, this one is added to the assets application. This is also an out-of-the-box functionality which is added to the assets application when you're buying this add-on. It's called the calendar tab, and on the calendar tab, when it comes to an asset, you can do multiple things in a graphical and visual way. So for example, directly on the asset, you can create downtime using the calendar. You can define a maintenance schedule, or you can create a new work order for this particular asset. So a couple of things that can be done out of the box already with this add-on purchased. this will be one of the capabilities. And if you even want to do more things here, you can just add it yourself. So if you also want to be able to create a service request directly here on the asset, on this element, you can just add that functionality to this to the application by using the application designer. Here you can see an example of reporting downtime. It's just using the out-of-the-box dialogues, in this case to reporting downtime, but you have already selected a certain amount of time, so it will make it very easy for you to visually and graphically report downtime in this case. Of course, it's also possible to get some more information. So you see a little balloon here. When you keep your mouse on the downtime registration here, you will see shortly the information of the downtime report. Of course, you can always modify the appointment also here. You will just also get the manage downtime history dialog, which we know from Maximo, and then you can adjust the downtime accordingly when you use this dialog. This is an example of creating a work order. So here you can see it is a custom work order dialog. So if you need to have more fields here, you can just use the application designer and add fields to this dialog, for example. Using really out-of-the-box Maximo functionality, and it's built also on the Maximo functionality, and that's really nice of this add-on, because you can just use it with the knowledge you already have of Maximo. And here we see also another approach when it comes to planning and scheduling. Then you can see here two types of tabs that are added out of the box. When you buy this add-on, you will get those two tabs in the work order tracking application. One of them is called monthly planner, one of them is called weekly planner. And of course, the monthly planner will give you a monthly overview, and it will show you the work orders like this, and you can just drag and drop them around, and it will change then the target start and finish or the scheduled start and finish. Depends on the settings of the element here in the application. And then you can just drag and dropping around in the monthly view. And on the weekly view, it will give you a little bit more information about the real duration of that work order. And you can also drag and drop them around here, of course. And once you click on one of the work orders, you also have the ability to edit that, let's say planned or scheduled work order at this moment. And you can just change it also by using the dialog. You also have the ability, when you use your right mouse button, to go directly to that record from this graphical visual view. You can move to the record or navigate to the record, or choose to modify it again, but that can also be done by clicking on the work order with your left mouse button. And then also one of the functionalities that can be bought in combination with this add-on is the Outlook integration. It's one of the things that in the Maximo community worldwide is wished for, so that people can directly see all their work in a Outlook calendar, because we use Outlook a lot. I think a lot of companies are using Outlook, and it would be very convenient to see the work that is assigned or scheduled to me, then that I can see that directly in an Outlook calendar. So they made this functionality. You have to fill in a couple of information of a couple of things, your user ID and password, your application, where you want to see the work orders from, in this case work order tracking. You will select your query that you have created, and the mapping ID, which will just represent the visualization of the information of the work order in the Outlook calendar. And then once you click on generate Outlook calendar link, you will get this URL, and you are able to copy this URL and take it to your Outlook calendar. So once you're in Outlook, you go to the calendar part, and then on the calendar part you will go to the My Calendars. Here on the left side, you will click with your right mouse button, navigate to Add Calendar, and then from Add Calendar, select the From Internet option. You will get this dialog, and with the URL you got from Maximo, you will just paste it in this field and click OK. And once you click OK, Outlook will make the connection to Maximo, and will then search for the query. We'll get the query and show your work orders. We will see that in a bit. So when you've clicked OK, you will see the work orders pop up based on the query you selected in Maximo. You also see that the calendar has been added now on the left side here. So you can see that the EM Swiss calendar, in this case it's called, is added. And you will see here just a weekly view of the work orders in this week. So this one has a short duration, this one has a bigger duration, and you also see some information in the boxes. And those information in the boxes, you can basically define this in the mapping IDs I was previously talking about. And so there you can define what kind of information you want to see here. In this case, you will see just the word work order with the work order number, the asset number, and the description of the work order, and also location information. And you can also see that if you keep your mouse arrow on the work order, that you also get a sort of balloon here to get some more detailed information. And this could be very convenient, of course, when you have a lot of work orders in this particular week. What you also can use, of course, is the functionalities that we're all used to in Outlook, such as the work week view or the weekly view, monthly view. And you can just use those functionalities also with this calendar, of course. And when you double click on one of the work order boxes, you will just get this dialog with the additional information of the work order. So you will see information such as the work order class and also the work type. You can of course see more detailed the start and end date and time. You will see of course the location on its place here, and also the title of the work order. That's what we also saw previously, the work order word with the number and the description. But most importantly also of course here is that you have the ability to click on this link, which will allow you to navigate directly to this particular work order in Maximo. And so you can change also this kind of information also in the mapping ID, as I told earlier. But yeah, the most important part here is of course that you have the ability to directly navigate to the particular work order in Maximo when you click on the link. And with that, I want to close and conclude this webinar. I want to thank you already for your attention. If there are still questions, you can still ask them, of course, via the chat. Is it possible to add and use the calendar element also in other applications? So I think this would refer to the EAM Flex calendar part. And I can tell already that, yes, this element can be used and added also in different applications. So the things I've shown in the webinar today, that's what you get when you buy this add-on out of the box. So that's everything that will be there if you install the product. And with your Maximo knowledge, it is possible to just use this element and basically configure it to the wishes of your organization. So you can just go into the application designer. The calendar element will be there next to all the other elements that you can add to an application, such as a section or something like that. And then you can just add it to a application. You can create a tab for it, or you can just add it. And then you can attach data sources to it, and you can just use all the out-of-the-box Maximo functionality. So the way that Maximo works, you can just use that and use your knowledge to use this calendar element also in other applications. So thank you for your question, that is possible. Maybe take this time to already ask you guys to keep in mind that we also have a next webinar, which is about preventive maintenance, and that's on the 16th of November. And just keep an eye on our socials, and also you can use this link to go to our website and also sign up for that webinar if you are interested in that. And if there are any additional questions, I just want to wrap it up here. Thank you all again for your attention today, and we of course look forward to see you next time. And I also want to wish you a very nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.